Let's start with initial setup. So as you all know, there is a log sheet in the manual, a startup sheet where you can record settings for your startup, record configurations, and those kind of things. With System View, we add this new feature that allows you to run the system and walk through the system that way, and it will give you the option later on to put in a little bit of information to save in the memory. So as you can see, the main screen here says perform initial system startup. This will continually prompt until you actually do it, and it will be annoying to a lot of people, but you got to go through it, you got to walk through it, you got to do it. It's part of the initial system startup. One key thing to note here is that we just powered up this unit and there's an alert light on. That alert light is for the clock, and that's because the clock isn't set, and that is part of the initial setup. So I'll walk you through this. So the first thing is you want to perform an initial startup, and it brings you to this checklist. So there's three main pieces to this checklist. There's quick set, network, and system auto test. For this video, we're going to focus on the quick set checklist. These are important items that most people would want to change or review during a startup of any machine. You got to put the password. 1111 is the service password defaulted. And quick set checklist, you hit enter and you can choose to perform it, or if it's already done, you can go and select done. In our case, we're going to perform the test. And it brings you to a quick setup menu. This menu can also be accessed through the menu tree, but this is a quick reference to it. So as you can see, the first thing is the time. So we go through and we'll set the time. 9:24 a.m. Set the date. And now we should see the light go away because the clock is now set. So the rest of these configurations are also shown on the install book, and it's basically, you know, settings that are most common people change. So the startup delay, which is, you know, on a power up, which unit comes on first. There's the unit control type. This is where you set it from thermostat to space sensor to RAT control based on your job setup. Then there's thermostat type. So this is where if you have different settings for a digital thermostat or a 3-stage or 1-stage or however you want to do it, then you would go in here. Dirty filter, this is if you would like a timer to then tell you when to change your filter, you can put in the time, it defaults to 0. If you have electric heat or heat pump and you've installed heaters, then you would want to change the heat setting. Vent method, this is where you would put in an economizer field installed. If it's factory installed, it will already be set up. But any field installed accessories, this is the menu you really want to jump in and take a look if you have any of these that you need to put on. For free cooling purposes, when you have the economizer, here's the quick glance at what temperature you want to do the changeover, whether you have a fire detector, smoke detector or not in the system. And then these next 3 points here, cooling design, indoor fan vent, and indoor fan heat. We'll have a later video that talks about those, but those are how you set your primary fan speeds for the machine for this particular application. And once you get all those set, then you go in and you change this to done. And now it's good. So now you can hit back, hit menu, go back. Like I said, every time you hit menu, if you say no, it's going to bring you to the menu and let you surf around, do whatever you want, but anytime you hit menu, it's going to go back to this initial startup screen. So if you ever got to get back to it because you haven't done all three, then you just hit menu or hit test and it'll bring you back to that screen. So you can go here and you can see we did the first one, it's done. So now we would have to do the network checklist and we'd have to do the system auto test. And when those are done, then that initial screen will no longer show you and prompt you to get completed.